Every week we do a different tip of the week. So we've got our schedule of the different tips that we've had over the last, about the last year, especially as we've been having live meetings again. In fact, in June, that'll be the commemoration of our full year back into live meetings. So excited to be here with you guys and sharing great information about investing. And as I was talking to my husband, Phil, today as we were preparing for the meeting, I said, what am I going to share with these folks today? And Phil gave me a great tip on what to share. And Phil, what was that tip? I know you're walking out, but you want to share it with them?
Buy rental properties.
Buy rental properties? What else did you say?
Well, rental properties, real estate here in Dallas is on sale. In fact, these are the cheapest prices you're probably going to see for the next 20 years.
These are the cheapest prices that you are going to see probably for the next 20 years. Some of you guys are saying what? Think about that. How many of you guys have been in Dallas for more than 20 years? Yeah. How many of you guys have said to yourself the following phrase? I remember when houses in that neighborhood used to sell for $100,000. I remember when 20 years ago when you could get a lot in that. And in fact, I had one of those moments like myself recently too, where it was like, yeah, I bought that lot for $40,000. Today that lot is worth, and that was when I first started investing, this one area I was investing in. Today that lot's probably worth $400,000 to $500,000. So yes, so all of you guys have that moment, right? I remember when, or you sold something and you're like, wow, like, you know, I sold it for this. Now I just looked it up on Zillow. Just don't go to look it up, and it'll just depress you, I promise. But I think one of the biggest things that I see stopping new investors, especially my left brain investors. Who are my left brain investors in here? Really, one.
They don't know what that means.
Okay. Who are my, yeah, you do, ma'am, thank you. Analytical, like, you know, I have a spreadsheet for everything that I do. Who are my people? I'm one of those people, yes, okay. Who are my right-brainers who are like, I'm taking off today, I'm gonna go and open up my wallet, but yeah, okay, my right-brainers in here, okay, wonderful. And then some of you guys are saying to yourself, oh, I'm a mid-brain. No, you're not, you're either right-brain or left-brain, but I'll let it slide, So for my left-brainers, a lot of them, and for years, been coming up to me at the Real Estate Investor Association meeting to argue with me, to tell me that, you know, the prices are too high, right? The market's about to crash. I've had people telling me this for 20 years. It is an exhaustive conversation with my left-brainers, okay? Because it's like, you know, they'll tell you all of the reasons why you should not invest in real estate. They'll tell you all the reasons why the market's about to crash. And then you know what I say? At first, like, you know, I think I was, you know, young. So I'm like, I have time, I'll argue with you. Now I'm just like, no, you just go run along, do your thing. I'm gonna keep on, you know, making a ton of money in real estate. So, but I do wanna, you know, help, you know, folks who are in this, you know, situation where they are saying like, I'm afraid the market's about to crash. And the truth is, listen, I've invested in up markets, I've invested in down markets, I've invested in, I think this market is what I call an upside down market. And you can make money in all of these different market cycles. And I'll tell you something, you know, is that's kind of fear talking inside of you. And I brought this up when I first started investing to my real estate coach. And he basically said to me this, he said, Shanoa, the people who make money in real estate and the people who get rich and the people who build wealth are the ones that can afford to hold on to real estate in between market cycles. Yes, you are going to crash and burn if you buy at the top and then you sell at the bottom. But if you can wait for that market to come back up, then you're going to be saying, yeah, I remember when. So I will just kind of challenge you guys to jump in the time machine with me right now, and let's propel ahead 10 years or 20 years. And then you know what you guys are going to be saying? I remember when houses in Dallas were $450,000. What a bargain that was. That's what you will be saying. That's what you will be saying. And then you'll also say, I remember when interest rates were only 5% back in 2022. What a bargain, right? Do you think interest rates are going to go back down anytime soon? No? Is that universal? Is there anyone who said, oh no, they're going to bring them down? Anybody? Someone says when a recession hits, they'll adjust it. After the election, okay? Right before. Okay. Oh, yeah. We got some political analysts in the room. I like that. But listen, guys, real estate is on sale, right? Real estate is on sale. In 20 years, you will be looking back and saying, "I remember when." So I'll take you guys back in the time machine for the first investment property that I bought, and this was before I was a full-time investor. This was when I was in college because. I come from 4 generations. I'm the 4th generation real estate investor. So my great-grandparents owned over 40 properties. My grandparents owned properties. My parents still own 12 doors to this day. They started investing in the early 90s. And when I was in college, my mom said, hey, we're not a family of renters. We're a family of owners. We got to find you a place in college that you're gonna buy and you're gonna own. So how does a college kid? And I don't want to. There are a lot of haters out there that when you brag, you know who you are and you know who they are, right? You brag about something and they just like hate on you. So I want to ask, I don't want anybody here to hate on me when I give you some of my facts and background, okay? So when I was in college, I was working about 32 hours a week, and I don't want anybody to get jealous in here, but I was making $4.75 an hour. American. How does a college kid with really no down payment and really no income and really no established credit, how does a college kid get a loan? Student loan? Seller finance. So the first house that I bought, they don't make these loans anymore. Some of you guys in the room may remember this, but was a non-qualifying assumable loan. So I took over the payments of the person who had it before me. Bought that property for $105,000. Today that property is worth about $1.4 million. That property is still in our family to this day. So a lot of you guys will say, I guarantee you in 20 years you will say, I remember when prices in Dallas were only $485,000. Okay, it's coming for you. Ask your parents, right? Ask anybody who sold a house in the last even 10 years, right? Even in the last 10 years, we've seen values almost double here in Texas. So real estate is on sale. There are great values out there. Even if, I don't think interest rates are going to go down anytime soon. And I'm not even convinced that they're going to go down even right before the election. But I'm open to all possibilities, right? I'm open to all possibilities. But I will say, my guess is I've seen a lot of the banks laying off people. Why? Because no one's refinancing anymore because they all got their refinances done. So a lot of the banks are like, they're sitting there going, okay, if someone would please come in now because I'd like to do my job before I get fired. So guys, there are people out there who are ready to give you loans. There are people out there who are willing to sell their house to you. And I, just after 20 years of being a full-time real estate investor, and even investing before, even when I was in college, this real estate in this market is on sale. If people stop moving to Texas, then I'd say we have a problem. If people stopped creating jobs in Texas, then I would say we have a problem. If people stop having babies, then we have a problem. But I don't see any of those things stopping anytime soon. So my suggestion to you is, especially for my left-brainers, get out there. And then again, just remember that any error that you make by overpaying on the buy, how is that remedied? Just by holding it. Just hold it long enough for it to be a 70% of ARV minus repairs deal, right? And don't buy at the top and sell at the bottom. You have to hold on, right? That's the secret. Now you also have to have your financing in place as well. So if you get a hard money loan, guess what? That hard money lender wants their money back in usually 6 to 7 months, right? But make sure your financing is set up for you to be able to win no matter what happens in the market, no matter who the president is. I've invested through I think 5 different presidents. All with different, ideas about what they could do to make the United States and the economy better. And I hear a lot of people will say, well, because so-and-so is in office, or because of this, or because of that, I can't make it happen right now. And I don't want any of those folks to be you, because I'm sure every single one of you sitting here probably is saying to yourself right now, man, I wish I would have done this 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Guys, the best time to plant a tree, 20 years ago. Second best time would be today. Now is good, and so is now. So I don't want any of you guys to have any regrets. So that's my advice that I want to share with you guys as we go through. And then I know we've got a bunch of experts in the room as well. So this graph, I think, and I know it's an eye chart, and I'm so sorry about this, especially for those of you guys who are in the 110th row. It's not high, so it's not an official nosebleed, but if you guys go to the Federal Reserve, you'll be able to, or just do a search for interest rates and median home sale prices. This chart actually goes back to 1970, and it takes it through 2021. And you can see all of the interest rate surges, all the times interest rates have gone down. And what do you see with housing prices? Is there any correlation between housing prices and interest rates? Not really. Is there a correlation between is there a correlation between housing prices and time? Yes. Right? Yes. So, what I've seen from the over the last 2 decades of, when we have had interest rate increases, usually there's a little bit of a market slowdown in terms of the number of sales. There's not really a market slowdown in terms of the average price, but usually we see a market slowdown in terms of the number of sales. We've seen that over the last couple of months, but Texas is still doing relatively well. So that's, interest rates going up don't scare me as much as I think it scares a lot of people. And I think money is still relatively on sale now. When I first started investing, interest rates were 7.5%. So to be in the fives, and you can buy that down, yeah, money's cheap. It's on sale. Go for it all day long. So that's something I want to share with you guys as well. There was one last point that I wanted to make about this too, but inflation. That's getting people now, because we haven't seen inflation like this for 40 years. Is that right? So and then there's now they're introducing this the stagflation concept, right? So, and again, that was probably last seen in the 70s, right? So when it comes to interest rate, as a buy and hold investor, when it comes to inflation, as a buy and hold investor, I love inflation. Why? Because in real estate, it just goes by a different name, which is what? Appreciation. Right? It just goes by another name. It's appreciation. And if you have a nice, portfolio, even if you just have one house, right? Even if that one house is just your home, you've watched how that value has gone up. Now, I do see a lot of people who will come in and talk to me about property taxes. Some counties, is very interesting. I don't know how many counties it's going to happen in, but some counties are actually reducing their property tax rate because the increase in values. Now, I don't know that this will get adopted universally here in Texas, because every county sets their own property tax rates. But that is something that we might see as we're seeing those values go up exponentially. But a lot of people are saying, it's like, they don't mention the fact that their property values have gone up. All they mention the fact of is that their taxes have gone up, right? So I like to remind people that you're crying, and you're crying all the way to the bank. And I took a poll, and no one feels sorry for you because you're gaining wealth, right? Now, might you have to refinance at some point? Yes. Are people on fixing? I don't want to sound like, oh, let them eat cake and real estate, right? But it is a major problem for people who are on fixed income, for sure. And it is something that we're going to all be dealing with over time. And I think something else that we're going to be seeing a lot of over time too is there are a lot of people who will say, well, I don't want to keep this property anymore, specifically because of property taxes. Because, you know, in Texas, what I've found is that cash flow on a rental property is a little bit of an oxymoron, because the values are so high and because the rents are not keeping up with values. The only way that you can make that magic happen is if you put a huge down payment down, right? To be able to get that monthly PITI, even at these very low interest rates, right? Even at these very low interest rates. So that's something to be aware of. My guess is one of the opportunities over the course of the next several years, because property values have gone up so much, is the number of people who are not paying their property taxes. How many people do you think that is? Thousands and thousands and thousands. I haven't looked at the list lately for Dallas. I don't know if anyone in here has, but my guess is for this Dallas-Fort Worth area, probably 30 to 40,000 people are behind on their property taxes. Do you think that problem is going to get any better? No. Do you think there's an opportunity there? Yes. So that's something I want you guys to think about as well. So look for the opportunity. Don't just focus on the negative, because there's so much opportunity out there. And some of these strategies and philosophies are what have helped us build a real estate portfolio worth $20 million over the course of the last 20 years. So put your work in now. Get started and keep it going. So one of the things I want to share with you guys is just the different ways that we can help you as part of Texas REIAs, just sharing tribal knowledge, sharing resources. So I'm excited you guys are all here and part of our tribe. So